It's April Thompson, coming to you live from Marrakesh. Anybody joining me? Anybody got any questions? I am continuing to chronicle my journey. I think it ends this Tuesday, my live broadcast. So, but I'll continue to keep you entertained with photos. I actually have an amazing video of a concert I went to that I'm going to post. What is happening today? I have to do some shopping at the market, and these things are out of control. But in my house, in terms of food, because I've been going out to eat tagine every night, and I ain't got enough food in my house, and I'm like, you might want to cook. So I wrote, "Hi, Nicole, how are you? Hi, coming to you live from Marrakesh in my apartment with Aisha, she'll make an appearance shortly. It's my Moroccan familiar. When I moved into my apartment the first day, I walked up to the steps with my friends who picked me up from the airport, and there's this little kitten. It was like this, just in front of my door. The doorman was like sitting down, and he was like, "Yeah, she be here. Hey, girl." And she looked at me like, there she is. There's Aisha in the plant. She likes to climb in the dirt right after she's had her booty washed. It's just great. I was like, Aisha, I just wiped you down with a wipey. She's like, yeah, that means it's time for me to crawl in the dirt, right? Okay, thanks. So she's like, I wanted to give people 9 ways to prepare for the Dreaming Morocco retreat without losing your mind. So I posted this about a week ago and got some questions on Instagram. And so I want to make sure I go through the whole list. So let me make sure I pull it up. The first way to not lose your mind is just to commit to the fact that you're going to make change in your life. And if you're afraid to make that change, you can do what I did. Buy your airline ticket. Just buy your airline ticket. Buy your airline ticket to wherever you're going. Hopefully Morocco, but someplace, right? Where you don't have to fight to be a woman just walking around. Because I think travel more than anything else, it gives you freedom from all the expectations of our current culture, which are incredibly painful right now. You've been killed and you're raped. And you got to go to court to say I was raped. And didn't know nobody believe you. They didn't want to kill you. And oh, Lord, you turn over your internet and somebody to kill somebody. Somebody that's supposed to be like responsible for our lives, and the nuclear war button is like having sex with minors, like crazy, crazy, crazy. And in some ways, travel is just about getting away from the current madness. And when you don't speak the language and you go someplace completely different, and I cannot emphasize enough, when you go someplace that's been around for like 5,000 years, it's just different. It's a different world, right? You got to get, America's pretty new. Just pretty new, right? And it's, inhabited by everybody who's trying to be American. So there's really no culture. There's really no like unified traditions that we have as a people. And like a set of like boundaries and moral codes that we've all agreed to live by. There's one moral code in the United States: make a lot of money. And then if you do that, anything you do is okay. Raise somebody is okay. Make some babies with people you ain't married to is okay. Like, the bottom line is make a lot of money. But when you go someplace that's been around since the 12th century, and they still have institutions and buildings and things that they've created and made, and a way of life and a culture that people from all over the place have adopted this culture. There's Spanish Moroccans, there's Sudanese Moroccans, there's Ghanaian Moroccans, there are Asian Moroccans, there are people who are mixed with indigenous people, Berber and Australian, but they're all like, we're Moroccan. And there's a culture that comes with it. The family comes first. Are there baby daddies? Sure. Is that the rule? No, that's the exception. Because the culture is created where family comes first, right? And I was saying to somebody yesterday, I was like, walking around with your booty hanging out in shorts and Beyonce outfits, it's not that you're being Western or it's actually not even that you're being anti-Muslim. And in many cases, the family comes first here, right? So if you're out someplace in a cafe dining with your family, the mama, the children, the daddy, the grandma, which is what I see all the time. The teenage boys, the prepubescent teenage boys, and a woman walks in with her booty hanging out. Now, I don't know about you, but I know from being home that when a half naked woman walks in and you having a family dinner, the married women want to kill her because now she got to deal with her 12-year-old son looking at a half naked woman, thinking that's how women's supposed to be, and a husband who's feeling uncomfortable. And I was like, it's anti-family. And the women in their hijabs and their fabulous sheer see-through burqas are like, bitch, I got my children and my husband here. Wear your clothes, right? The family comes first here. So it's a very interesting thing. If you walk into a place and you're inappropriately dressed, the men don't all leer. It's like, really? Is that what you're doing? And then they just go back to their tea because they're like, what are you doing? Like, this is, what are you doing? You know, it's really interesting if you're inappropriately dressed or if you're in Western clothing even. Men tend to be like, hello, madame, or salam alaikum, and then they go back to their business. They don't be all in your face. It's like inappropriate to stare, right? Unless you come in wearing a jalaba, which is a tunic with a hood. Men and women wear it here. It's beautiful. It's kind of like a very loose, kind of like kaftan. Or you wear a kaftan, in which case people say hello, they bow to you because you are honoring their culture by coming in wearing their traditional clothing. That's the only time I get looks. And even then, nobody sort of stares at you. They acknowledge that you look lovely and thank you for honoring my culture. And then they go back to their food, right? Because men leering and all that, the family comes first. It's not acceptable, right? Men don't roll up to you trying to get you in bed. That's not acceptable. I'm sure there are young kids who are untender who do that. But for the most part, grown people don't do that. There ain't nobody sitting across from you on the train or the bus going like this. By the way, the buses are all brand new and they're really gorgeous. But there's no leering because you could be somebody's wife, and that's really disrespectful, right? Boys don't come and just try and date girls. Like, you know, it's hard to get a woman because you got to be about 30. You got to own your own house. You got to be able to provide for her in the way that she's accustomed. Otherwise, you ain't looking for no wife, right? You ain't hanging around dating like forever because women are expecting you to marry them. That's the expectation. That's what the family expects of you, right? So everything's built around the family. So you act out, somebody's uncle's coming to get you. It's not acceptable. Like, it's built within the culture that men have to be accountable. And the way they're accountable is you're expected to take care of everybody. That's where your manhood comes from. So there's a quiet code here. Mofos do not roll up on you randomly, jogging behind you, like in Brooklyn. That's why I had this thing, people like, oh, catcalling is really terrible in Morocco. I was like, I don't know where you think are all. But, okay, if you're in the Medina, the marketplace, and you're walking, people are going to holler at you because they're trying to sell you something. You pretty all day because they're trying to sell you something. Remember, these are merchants. They've been merchants since before the 12th century, carrying goods across the desert, hollering, come and see the saffron that I have, come and see the silk that I have, come and see the wool. It's what they do, right? So when you are in the marketplace, you are being sold. You think used car salesmen in America got something about selling you something? You ain't met a Moroccan trying to sell you some rugs his family made. Oh, they got selling down to a science. So when you go to the marketplace, people are hollering at you, Mama Africa, beautiful madame, come sit. They pour you tea, holler at you. It's a whole thing. It happened to me going through the souk. And I was like, yo, this is mad intense. Why is people like, you're Rastafarian. Oh, and they got languages for you too, which is what I love. They're like, bonsoir. Oh, no French. Hola. You're like, no. Then they jump into Arabic and they're like, no. Then they'll jump into Amazigh, the indigenous language. They will move from languages to French. They'll try 5 or 6 different languages, see where we're connecting, and then we just move on to sign language. The marketplace is intense, and it's theater, which I was like not ready for. It's totally theater. Hey, Hillary, hey, Richard. The marketplace is total theater, right? So you're walking through and it's beautiful. There's rugs, and then the really big marketplace is like Fez, which will go in the Dream Rocker retreat, and here in Marrakesh, huge marketplace. It's like the size of a football field, and then it winds around into another part of the city, and it's been there since where? The 12th century. Okay, so it's been inhabited continuously since the 12th century. Okay, it's just amazing. So you're walking through, and there's different sections. There's a steel section, and then there's a carpet section, and there's a furniture section, things made from wood. Then there's jewelry section. Then there's lighting and lamp section. Then there's like, and don't forget about the restaurants and the food and and the antiques. And it just we have no concept of the marketplace. It's like a very fancy flea market that goes on forever, but it's fancy because it's been here since when? The 12th century. So you'll walk into sections where they'll have thatched roofs with the sun coming through, or they'll have wrought iron bars, right, that go up the sides of buildings, and then the bars cast a shadow over the little pathways that you're walking through, and they're cobbled, and like it's a city unto itself. So you will get hollered at in the souk. And there's drama for all your actresses, which I really loved. I was like, okay, so people trying to play me and trying to sell me this pillowcase. I know somebody made this morning, right? Okay, it's great. And this woman been weaving and knitting, and it's really beautiful. But I'm not trying to give her no $400. Okay, 400 dirhams or $40. I ain't got that kind of money, right? So you see something you want. I saw a pillowcase I wanted. I was like, well, this will be beautiful. And the guy was like, oh, madame, do you want tea? And he about to pour me some mint tea. Because that's what you do when we get ready to talk about sales. He's going to tell you the history of their rug. He's going to tell you the history of their pillowcase. He's going to tell you about his family's tradition and what they've been doing and making and da-da-da. And if he doesn't, that means it was made in China and getting hustled. But if he sits down for tea and he's talking to you, about where you're from and where his family's from and what they do in their village and what they make, because every village is known for something. And he's telling you about the history of this pattern or this weave, and y'all sipping tea, and he brought out some cookies. I was on. And then you say, I like this, and he says, this price. It's like ridiculous. Like, it's like really ridiculous. Like, neither he nor you think that you're actually going to pay that. Like, you're like, I'm not trying to give you 400 US or like, 190 euro. I'm not trying to give you that for that. We both know that I'm not trying to give you that. And so then I come up and I say something not quite as ridiculous as his, but pretty close, right? Like I cut in half what he says. And then he's like, oh, you're killing me. You're killing me. Then it's like this performance about all of his children, and he's got to put food in their mouths and pay school fees. And you're like, oh my God, that's really dramatic. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna give you 10 more extra dollars. And he's like, what do you think I am? Like, it's such drama. And if you don't engage in this, people are like, you don't think my work is worthy of this performance? And so then you do the really magnificent thing. You've gone back and forth and you're like, yalla, I am not paying this. And then you go, la, which means no, la. And I've seen like the grandmothers and the mothers and the daughters come shopping Friday afternoons. They're all in their hijabs and their feminist jallamas, and they hold each other's hands like this. So they walk through the marketplace in like a line of 4, and everybody has to clear out of the way. Has to be clear out of the way because they've come to shop. Okay. And I saw them do, right? Then they walk out, and then the salesman then proceeds to jog behind you. Okay. It reminds me of Brooklyn in the subway, but he's jogging behind me trying to get my number. I tell me I look good, and he ain't seen my face yet. Here, he's jogging behind you because you have turned your back on the negotiation, because the price that he offered was just so ridiculous. It's drama now. It's Greek drama. Okay, it's epic. So he's gonna jog, and he may jog a couple of blocks behind you, trying to get you to buy it. But this was made by my grandmother under the Turkish moon. And you're like, la. You don't walk out, you la. And then finally, after he's jogged behind you and been like, okay, then he offers you and he says, this is my final price. And it's like $10 more than you said you was gonna pay. And you get this whole explanation about how he won't be able to feed his cats or his children, and they're gonna have to give the cats away to the neighbors. Like, it's epic drama. And then you turn and you knock $5 off and you go, okay, yalla, Then he takes him all the way back to the store. He gift wraps it, right? And he goes, do you want me to deliver it to your hotel or to your home, or do you want to take it with you now? Because you're coming to shop. I'll be like, oh, can you just deliver it to my house? Just leave it in the doormat. Okay, great. And then they deliver it. And when you get home that night, it's either there or it comes like around dinner time. That's shopping. That is the only time I have had somebody catcall and be out the box is a negotiation. Like, it is hardcore. And I used to be like, oh my God, this is so much drama. This is so much. But that's what it is. It is the performance. We have broken bread. We have had tea together. Moroccan mint tea is everything. It's the ritual of it. And it's drama. And it's like, and if you don't do it, because so many things are handmade, it's like, how much do you think my art is worth? Right? It's the pride in the work, right? Or even if you go by, there's a guy that I bought antique earrings from. He's Bridgewater, by the way. And he goes all over the desert. And he gets old squatting Berber jewelry. And he goes to Mali, and he's man in pink. I think I posted pictures of him. And you'll get to meet him. Come on over, Drew. He's very fabulous. He wears pink all the time. He got pink blazers. He got pink caftans. He got pink head wraps. He's very fabulous. He's got a big silver beard. And he has pictures in his shop of all the movie stars that have come and bought stuff from him. He got stuff from like Ethiopia in the 20s. And you're like, he has like thrown in the corner. He's like, $40. I was like, this is an antique from Ethiopia. And he travels all over the continent buying jewelry. And his stuff's amazing. He's such a character in the negotiations. And you don't buy nothing from him unless you want to do it. We do the dance. We do the negotiation. He actually may close the shop and take me around the corner to the cafe to have tea so we can talk about this jewelry and what your mother needs. Your mother needs this. Your mother, this is from mama. Because you're buying something from mama. And if you don't buy something from mama from him, that at the end of your sale, anything that you were looking at, he's gonna like give it to you. He's like, this is gifts from mama. Kind of think if I buy a gift from mama. And I was like, okay then. I'll post his picture as the cover. I was like, he is a character. But it is the negotiation. So that's the only time I've ever heard people holler at me. Did anybody have any questions about the retreat? I'm going to post the link here when I'm done. But if you go to thedreamunlock.com, all one word, you can see the Dream Rocker Retreat. It's on sale till October 1st, unless we fill it first. So, and there's two options. November 1st through the 17th, where you go the entire country, from all the way in the Casablanca, the capital where you fly into the mountains to Shoshone, across the desert as we head towards the high Atlas Mountains, which are cold, and we stay a night in a family home. Then we're back down into the desert to see Ait Ben Adu. No, but before that, we go to Fez, which is the big marketplace, and it's the oldest city. It was supposed to be the capital. It's full of mystery and fabulous shopping. And then we head to the Sahara to glamp overnight with the Bedouins, where baby brown Jesus and robes give you your camel, load it up, take you through the desert on a little ride for an hour. Then they cook dinner for you, set you up in your tent, and they serve you dinner fresh. And you're sitting there at the table by candlelight having your dinner. And then they play drums and do a concert and to the wee hours of the night around the fire. And they fine. You know, I don't know about you, but I have no problem with somebody who looks like Jesus, like playing drums for me and cooking and touching for me. And they have wireless. What's not to like? What I love is dudes in robes from the 12th century with his iPhone taking pictures for you and Instagramming. I was like, I was like, because like he's a Bedouin and the camel thing is in his family for generations. So buying a camel for a tourist to have a side gig where you take tourists into the desert to camp overnight. You buy a camel. Buying a camel is like buying a car, right? Because you can then rent it out to other people. So the camel can like take these little jaunts into the desert. You know, it's 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back. The camels stay overnight. They get some food. They be chilling outside. Your little campground waiting for you in the morning. It's all good. So there's these young guys who have these companies. And if you're Instagram with me, Rashid is one of the guys. immersive in the desert, who has his own business and he Instagrams like crazy. And he is a sandboarder. So he's like our version of a surfer who has a camel business in which he takes people into the desert to camp overnight. And when he's not there, he is sandboarding in the desert. So he's like a surfer dude, but Moroccan. And his Instagram is how he books gigs. I was like, what is not to love about this? And you look like Jesus. You like brown. It's like the beard and shit in the robes. Like, what's not to love about Rashid's business? Okay. So he does the camel thing part of the year, and then he rents out his camel to another young guy, and he's like 22, and then he goes snowboarding around the desert. And he could cook and play drums. What's it like? It's like, so you'll meet Rashid if you go on the retreat. So there's 17-day. We're going to the desert. Then we go to Adu, which if you watch Game of Thrones, you know the Unsullied, you know, the beautiful, like, African, they don't say African, but they African. The African soldiers that don't have any equipment downstairs and they're beautiful. The castle that they face and they do their drill exercises is actually Adu in Marca. And it's a kasbah up inside of a mountain, and it looks like castles. And people are still living there. There's about 4 or 5 families still living there. It's been a city that's continuously inhabited since the 12th century. And the families that live there are artists for the most part. They make rugs and there's painting and beautiful things. We'll be doing that stop. And then from there, we head back towards the cities and the beaches for the retreat. And we head back to Agadir, and I'm missing a lot of cities. This was like 7 or 8 cities that we go on, and a bunch of villages. We go to Desert Oasis and we have lunch. We visit a Berber museum. We visit a town that is known for making products from roses. So as you approach the town, we drive through, we stop at one of their co-ops. But this town harvests roses, and then they make, because rose water, rose oil is huge here in Morocco. Right? They have total farms, rose farms. And this town smells like roses. As you drive into it, you smell the roses. And then we stop at a cooperative, and everything's, there's rose soap, there's rose cooking oil, there's rose perfume, there's rose shampoo, there's rose, and it's all made there. You kind of lose your mind in that little town. So we just stopped there for like lunch, and then you just shop till you jump. So then we head back to the city, and then we have the 2-day retreat in Essaouira on the beach. And that's where we work on Dreaming Morocco, our Dreaming Out Loud technique, which I teach in my TED-Talk, which I will be doing a bunch of freebie classes on that next week. We had to push back to Tuesday. I didn't realize that I had double booked. I'm still doing these live broadcasts on Tuesday, so I can't do the Dreaming Out Loud class. So the Dreaming Out Loud class will be next Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's 5 p.m. my time. And it'll be a live Zoom class. And you'll get a taste of the Dreaming Morocco retreat. It'll be what we're working on those 2 days. And my premise is that we often do what we think we're supposed to do in our lives. And it isn't until you make a massive change and do something that seems out the box, but it's actually been your secret desire. It's your secret heart's desire that you're not acknowledging. And when you do that massive thing, it's a change, right? It opens doors to you getting closer to actually what you really want to be doing in a life you really want to be doing, but you feel so obligated and you're so busy multitasking and doing what you should be doing that you don't ever have the time to say, why am I not doing what I dreamed of doing when I first started here? Like, nobody dreamed of going on 7 auditions a day. I don't know about you, but I never dreamed of that. I'm sorry. Nobody dreamed about being on a set from 4 a.m. to 1 o'clock in the morning every day, 20 episodes for 11 months out of the year. Nobody actually dreamed about that. We dreamed about the runway. We dreamed about the Emmy Awards. We dreamed about making a couple movies a year and spending time with our family. Nobody dreamed about the grind. Nobody dreamed about having to pay a stylist $1,000 to get your clothes for every single photo shoot, and then paying your agent 15%, and then paying your manager 15%, plus 15% of all your residuals. Nobody dreamed about that. That wasn't the dream. Sorry, it wasn't the dream. And then having to hire a lawyer, keeping them on retainer for $15,000 a year, and then having it, right? So you need to be on 17 TV shows just to catch up. Like, nobody dreamed about that. That wasn't the dream. right? But we fall into it because we're told that's part of the dream. But that wasn't the dream. And in order to shake up all of those expectations and what you should be doing and being perfect and what everybody says you were doing, for me, it was coming to Morocco, which was like something I'd always dreamed of because I love the art and aesthetics of it. And like Dooley says, massive change requires massive action, right? And in my TED Talk, in the Streaming Out Loud technique, I spent a year working on this technique and figuring out, oh my God, all the shit that I thought I was supposed to be doing, I got more credits. I done played Medea Goneril, Medea again. I done movies. I done produced movies. I done produced Broadway shows. I done gone to Tony's. I was like, that wasn't the dream. The dream was to tell story and make sure that I gave little brown girls that looked like me an image of what was possible for them, even if they came from crackheads and the Pork and Bean projects like I did. That in my life, I was going to show them real living, walking, breathing stories of what was possible so that poverty isn't actually who you are. It's a temporary state of affairs that you're passing through to get to something else. Because when I was growing up, I thought poverty was the illness that I was going to struggle through all my life. And then all the things that came with that. Poverty, drug addiction, the only option being to marry the drug dealer and then get shot at in the car when he gets shot at, and like, I came from it. Let's just leave it at, I came from pathology that makes boys in the hood look like, I don't know, club band. I came from pathology, right? And so for me, it's the journey outside. It's the journey out of that, which was a very long and complicated one, because you can certainly become extremely successful, but you can still be ghetto. Look around you. Rich basketball players and rappers having babies with people they're not married to. Like, all the pathology is still there. They just have lots of money. You end up dead soon too, right? So it was interesting to me that I realized that was manifesting in my life as I was walking down another red carpet was that actually wasn't the dream. The dream was to become really excellent at something, to become a great actor. And as I went, through my reviews, apparently I had done that. I had all the credits. I had all the work, right? I had done it. I'd been all over the world doing Shakespeare. And I'd been on TV. I'd actually done it. I was really good at it. It wasn't hard anymore. Oh, okay, I'm gonna learn how to tell stories. So then I learned how to write. And then my shows got produced. Okay. Then it's like, I need to give Black people jobs. Okay, so I became a producer with Simon Says, and we produced Porgy and Bess. And we gave Black actors 401ks and Broadway checks for 7 months and then a tour, right? We helped them buy houses off of what they made on Porgy and Bess and the tour for 3 years, right? I had done the things that I said I wanted to do. Now, just because the place that I'm from, this industry, wasn't acknowledging that by paying me what I was worth, didn't negate that I had done what I had set out to do. But had I not been nominated to do this TED Talk, which came out of me making a massive action. I didn't want to work for anybody anymore. So I learned how to write. I wrote a play called Liberty City. It was my first play. It got produced off Broadway at New York Theater Workshop. Right? Miami Herald came and saw me do it, and they were like, this needs to be in Miami. And then some people in Miami and the Miami Herald nominated me to do a TED Talk. That TED Talk happened because I took a massive action that I was afraid of. It was something like writing was something that terrified me, right? And because I became a writer and a performer and my work got done, then I got a TED Talk, which then demanded of me to say, what's your story? How did you get from, because, NPR interviewed me. They went back to the neighborhood that I'm from in Miami, which has unpaved streets and open sewage. And I went to visit my neighbors. And people were like, this is where you're from? And then we drove for 10 minutes to the place where I was performing my show, which is like Lincoln Center. And they were like, so you had to go all the way to New York and become a writer and an actor in order for the Arts Center to produce your story 10 minutes from where you grew up? I was like, yes. I had to take a massive action in order to create change. And then the TED Talk was the next step. It was very terrifying. But I had to explain to people how I got from the Pork and Bean projects and open sewage just standing up here in TED Talk telling you about my life, right? And I realized that in having to articulate that journey, that I had learned how to create change in my life by taking massive steps that scared me. And so in that TED Talk, I began formulating this dreaming out loud technique. And I was like, these are the steps that I took. That's what I'm teaching during the 17-day retreat and the 9-day retreat. Because there's a 9-day version of it. It's $13.50. It'll be on sale till October 1st, unless we fill up first, right? So there's only 8 spots in the 9-day left. So it's getting dark. Look, oh, y'all might get to see a Moroccan sunset. So I realized in doing that TED Talk that I actually wanted to teach what this journey was. And I've never believed in, okay, I'm gonna be a hater, on Iyanla Vanzan and Oprah making affirmations. Actually, affirmations don't create change. You know what creates change? Hashtag Black Lady Therapist. 15 years in a room, sitting across from a woman with a medical degree, holding me accountable to what I said I wanted to change. It's like, I grew up in huge pathology. My parents were drug addicts, and I have all of the behavior of an enabler and a child of drug addicts. So I don't know how to be normal. It's just like, well, you could talk about that and do some affirmations and keep reading out of this book, or you can get in here and do some work. We can unravel some of that. We can unravel some of the behavior that's causing the depression. We can unravel the too much eating. We can unravel the eating poorly. We can unravel the unsafe sex. We can unravel all of the behavior that you have as a result of that damage. And what I learned from her is change is about taking a massive action that scares you. That's how you build self-esteem. You do something that terrifies you, and then you journey that and chronicle that. That's what creates change, methodically. And that's what Dreaming Out Loud is about. That's what this journey in Morocco is about. I'm someplace where I don't speak the language, and I am ultimately extremely vulnerable. I have to rely on the kindness of strangers. Taking the action of doing that and relying on the kindness of strangers, and then seeing people show up for me with their kindness and take care of me, disproves every belief that I had about Black women aren't cared for. Everybody hates you because you're Black. Everything in life has to be hard. You don't deserve anything. Men hate women. By taking a massive action that forced me to confront what I believed about the world, I got rid of some limiting beliefs about how people felt about Black women. Because when somebody's giving you their house for like $600 a month and paying for everything and taking care of you and sending people to drive you here and drive you there and look out for you and just wanting to know that you're happy, I can no longer say, oh, nobody cares about Black women. Because there's a whole bunch of people who don't even know me from Adam's house cat right here in Morocco taking care of a Black woman that they don't know from Adam's house cat, right? Massive action creates massive change. Why? Because it shows you that what you believe that's limiting is not the truth. It shows you that you can have more. It shows you that you're capable of creating change in your life, right? Change requires you taking an action. Transition happens when you actually realize that you are capable of making change. And transformation is what happens when change and transition happen at the same time. That's what the Dreaming Morocco retreat is about. That's what Dreaming Out Loud is about. Do I have questions? If I don't, I'm about to go to the store and I'm gonna get me some tagine, and then I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow because it's slowly getting dark. Ooh, and the sun's setting. It's really pretty here. The sun is setting in Marrakesh, and the moon here is basically sort of ridiculous. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. That's the view from my balcony. I will see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bat channel. If you have questions, post them below. I swear I will answer you. Come to Morocco with me. Step out your comfort zone. Come to a place where kindness and beauty are the air that people breathe. Bye. Love you. Read it.